We are jumping right into the electrifying and genuinely historic 2-0 victory that finally, at long last, snapped Mexico's agonizing 4-decade World Cup knockout stage drought. What happened on the pitch against Ecuador wasn't just another soccer match. It was honestly the ultimate exorcism of a national sports ghost. So let's break down exactly how L3 broke through this massive psychological barrier. Okay, to really grasp the stakes here and the massive emotional weight involved, we've got to start with a looming, heavy number: 40. 40 long, grueling years have passed since Mexico's last World Cup knockout victory, all the way back in 1986. Think about that for a second. Entire generations of fans have grown up just waiting and hoping to see their team advance past this exact stage. That 40-year drought placed a suffocating, almost unimaginable mountain of pressure squarely on the shoulders of the current squad. Literally every touch, every pass, and every mistake was magnified by 4 decades of historical weight. Now, before a single ball was even kicked, Mother Nature decided to add to the drama. A severe thunderstorm rolled right over Mexico City, forcing a tense 1-hour delay. Picture the scene. You've got this restless, incredibly anxious crowd completely trapped inside the legendary cauldron of the Estadio Azteca. The skies are dark, the rain is just pouring down in sheets, and that agonizing tension of a 40-year wait is compounding by the minute. It's like the extreme weather acted as a giant pressure cooker, supercharging the atmosphere. When the skies finally cleared, the energy in that stadium was absolutely explosive. So, the match finally gets underway, and guess what? It's actually the visiting South American side that almost silenced that thunderous home crowd right out of the gate. Ecuador broke quickly from deep inside their own half, worked the ball out to John Yeboah, and he unleashed this terrifyingly powerful effort that physically rattled the post. It was a heart-stopping warning shot for the hosts. But here is the absolutely crucial point. That mere miss did not break Mexico's spirit. Not at all. Instead of retreating into a shell of fear, L3 used that terrifying moment as a catalyst. It was the exact spark that woke up the sleeping giant, instantly unlocking Mexico's relentless, high-pressing intensity for the rest of the half. That early scare sparked what we're going to call the First-Half Blitz. Let's map out this sheer chaos, because in just a 31-minute window, the match's entire momentum flipped. Right at kickoff, history is instantly made as Gilberto Mora takes the field. Then, as we just mentioned, Ecuador hits the post early on. But bang, in the 22nd minute, Mexico's high press pays off and Quiñones scores the opener. Before Ecuador can even catch their breath to reorganize, the 31st minute hits, and Jimenez doubles the lead. In just a little over half an hour, Mexico utterly overwhelmed their opponents. And what's so incredible about this blitz is the multi-generational teamwork involved. You have this beautiful, staggering contrast out there on the pitch. On one hand, you've got 17-year-old Gilberto Mora, who literally wrote his name into the history books at kickoff by becoming the second youngest player to ever start a World Cup knockout match, trailing only the legendary Pelé. Insane, right? And alongside him is 35-year-old veteran Raúl Jiménez, who became the oldest Mexican player to score in a World Cup knockout stage. You've got the raw, historic youth of Mora, combining perfectly with the veteran savvy of Jimenez. It really took every generation working together to break a curse this old. Let's zoom in on that crucial breakthrough in the 22nd minute. Mexico's aggressive press, which was totally fueled by that deafening crowd, was suffocating Ecuador, and finally it pays massive dividends. Julian Quiñones capitalizes on a sloppy defensive error, gets played clean through on the left flank, and he doesn't hesitate for a second. He cuts inside with absolute ruthless confidence and smashes a thunderous, fizzing strike right into the top corner. That wasn't just the crucial opening goal, it was his 3rd goal of the tournament, and it sent the Estadio Azteca into absolute unbridled delirium. Just 9 minutes later, Quiñones flips the script and turns into the provider. Ecuador's defense falters yet again under the weight of the moment, and Quiñones scores it up for the 35-year-old forward, Jimenez. The sequence was described perfectly by commentators as an elegant 1-2 before curling a classy finish into the top corner. It was a masterful, totally devastating move that effectively broke Ecuador's back, leaving them staring up at a massive, seemingly insurmountable mountain to climb before halftime. All right, moving into the second half, the tone and cadence of the match completely shifted. Ecuador came out totally desperate to wrest back control. And to their credit, they absolutely dominated possession. But instead of cracking, Mexico retreated into a highly disciplined, grueling defensive block. It was basically a resolute Mexican fortress. They absorbed wave after wave of L3's territorial dominance, which steadily built up their opponent's absolute frustration.
Ecuador really struggled to create clear-cut opportunities against this wall. Their best chance fell to Kevin Rodriguez, who chested down a long ball inside the penalty area. But under immense pressure, his hurried toe poke just trickled harmlessly wide of the post.
But hey, don't think for a second that Mexico was just sitting back and surviving. Even while sitting in that deep defensive block, they remained incredibly dangerous on the counterattack. They were looking for the kill. As the minutes aggressively ticked away, El Tre actually came agonizingly close to adding a third goal to put the game completely out of reach. Cesar Montes met a corner kick with this massive, powerful header. It looked absolutely destined for the back of the net, if not for a spectacular, leaping late save by Ecuador's goalkeeper Hernan Galindez, who just barely managed to tip it over the crossbar.
You know, when you're knocking on the door that long and getting completely stifled, frustration is bound to boil over, and boy did it. Deep into the 7 minutes of stoppage time, Ecuador's mounting desperation finally exploded into chaos. Following an altercation with Mexico's Santiago Jimenez, Arsenal defender Piero Hincapié was issued a straight red card after a VAR review, an immediate ejection. It was the final, fiery consequence of a deeply frustrating night where Ecuador simply could not break through the Mexican will. Let's take a step back from this specific match for a second because the broader tournament context is just mind-blowing. 4. This historic 2-0 win proudly marks Mexico's 4th consecutive victory of the competition. They are stringing together a perfect run right when the lights are brightest and the pressure is at its absolute peak. But wait, it gets better. Even more staggering than those 4 consecutive wins is this number: 0. Over those 4 victories, they have conceded exactly 0 goals. Let that sink in. That represents a staggering 4 consecutive clean sheets, all anchored by that absolutely resolute, impenetrable backline we just saw absorbing all that Ecuadorian pressure. We are watching a true defensive masterclass unfolding on the world at this stage.
So this brings us to the million-dollar question as we wrap up today. Final whistle didn't just confirm a historic 2-0 victory. It confirmed the death of an agonizing 40-year jinx. Mexico finally secured their first World Cup knockout stage victory since 1986. With that suffocating weight lifted off their shoulders and an absolutely impenetrable defense that literally refuses to concede a single goal, how far can this historically unstoppable squad go? They've got the talent, the multi-generational chemistry, and now they have the belief. Thank you for diving into the history and the stats with me today, and for sure, keep your eyes fixed on this Mexican side.